And here we go. Happy Arduino Day, Lady Ada.
Yay!
It is Arduino Day,
That's
2019.
Right. And we're celebrating.
We usually do this type of broadcast or something every single year.
That's right.
We have a big history with doing things with Arduino, writing code, making hardware.
True.
We have a recap of some of the things we've done over the last decade.
Yes.
Or more. And this is a celebration of all the things that not only got Adafruit here, but a lot of people here. Without Arduino, there wouldn't be an Adafruit in the way it is right now.
Absolutely not.
So
essential.
So I thought what we would do is, first off, let everybody know about our discount code. And we didn't just do a discount code for this is all for the entire Adafruit store. So go have fun.
Not just Arduino. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that works with Arduinos, like sensors and shields. So it's just everything, but pretty much everything in the store could use Arduino. So
10% off Adafruit store, cool. Arduino D19. It's only for this hour, so use it right now, or I'll let it go a little bit after the show
until we get home,
like 10 o'clock or so Eastern time, and that's 10% off everything except for gift certificates and Ada box.
What if people have questions that they want to ask us?
I'm glad you asked that. So we'll be answering questions throughout the show, but do that on Discord, because we have Facebook, Twitch, other places, YouTube, and it's hard to do all the chats, but Discord's the best thing. Adafruit.it/Discord.
It's free.
We'll get you there. And special thanks to the Arduino Discord. They just hit 1,000 people, humans today, and I wanted to make sure it was okay. I said, hey, is it all right if I post that we have this video thing? And I believe it was Eli. I said, yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Eli, and everybody over on the Arduino Discord server. Shout out to them. And so let's kick this off.
Okay. Wow, thanks for putting up the little icon there.
Yeah.
You can just grab it.
So let's kick this off. So I thought when we start is, and this is, I think, one of the, because every year there's more things that have happened, but I spent a lot of time on putting together the last 18 years of things that you've been doing with electronics that has something to kind of do with Arduino.
It has been about, it's getting close.
No, it has been. I have times and dates on all this. So we're going to show some unseen, probably, Arduinos from back in the day soon. And we're also going to show some origins of how you did stuff with Arduino. And these are stories and things that Arduino told us. They're like, oh yeah, Lady Ada did this thing, and we built off that. It was open source, and then you built off of it, and that was open source. So I wanted to start back in 2001.
I think it's around, actually I don't know the exact date.
I think it might have been September 16th, 2001.
Okay.
So September 16th, 2001, I think you were still in school.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep. And you made this.
Yes.
What is this?
So this is an FTDI adapter. So at the time, I was still doing projects using serial ports and parallel ports, which were common on computers, but USB ports were becoming popular. Well, they were already popular, but it was starting to become you couldn't get computers with serial ports anymore. Everything was moving to USB. So to make it easy for us to do microcontroller programming and interfacing using serial ports, USB to serial, USB ports instead of serial ports, I made this converter using this new chip that was on the market, the FT232BM. This was later used in the Zox box, so this was kind of a predecessor of that. I think I made it a year or two beforehand. So this is a USB serial converter, and on the side, on the edge, you see power ground, RxTX, a crystal, 2 LEDs, and a USB port. And this was made at AP Circuits, which was what everyone at the Media Lab used at the time.
Okay. And what does this have to do with Arduino? What is the thing?
I'm glad you asked.
That connects this to something like this. And now this, by the way, I've been writing about Arduino for 15 years now. This is a photo of one of the very first Arduinos.
Yeah, and you can see it uses a parallel port to program.
Yeah, so you were
working on this. You could use AVR Dude power port to program.
Parallel port.
But what's funny is they ended up saying, okay, the parallel port's too big to program. Let's use a USB serial bootloader. And so what's funny is later, I didn't find out this until much, much later when Massimo visited, and he's one of the co-founders of Arduino, and came by and said, oh yeah, the design that we ended up putting on the first Arduino with USB, we used this board schematic because I published it on my website.
All right, so this was 2001. You published it on your website. You had LadyAda.net. You still around, but LadyAda.net. You put it out there. Put it on open source.
I think this was for Burning Man project. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was for. Yeah.
And then 2004, this is the first, quote, Arduino. And then 2005, this was another photo.
Yeah.
And then around 2008 is when Adafruit started stocking the Arduino.
For 3 years they didn't stock it. First off, we weren't large enough to be able to do wire transfers and stuff. I was only selling my own kits. But yeah, around, I remember 2005 or 2006, I moved to New York. I remember I used an Arduino in a project, and I was like, this is a really cool board. And then at the time, I didn't have this ability to sell other people's stuff. But then, around 2007, 2008, that's when I remember Make they ordered from Arduinos from Italy. It's not easy to ship. I mean, like, you had to transfer, money, and you had to, wire it, and then you had to get the UPS shipment.
I was running Maker Shed
like
at the time. With Dan Woods. I was one of the first folks at Make, and I was like, I will somehow get a wire transfer to these people in Italy so I can get boards in the Make store.
Yes, I remember I ordered 500, I think it was my first order.
So that was around 2008 when these boards were around, and then I wanted to show the Adafruit website in 2009. So this is what it looked like.
Yeah.
And this is when I started helping you with the website. So we have a big graphic there. We started having news.
By this point, I had quite a few products too. I had a lot of kits.
Yeah. So let's go to the overhead.
Okay.
And I want you to get the little the Adafruit Lunch Box.
Okay.
So this is the Adafruit Lunch Box of Arduinos. Yeah. So this is our lunch box that we made. We use this for lots of things now. So So let's open up the lunchbox, and then we'll take out some of these Arduinos one at a time. So anyways, that's what's in there. You can put that over there now. Okay,
right.
First one.
So I'm gonna
pick the oldest ones out there.
I think this is the oldest one.
Okay, so let's put some of these old ones out here. And you could start to see these old Arduinos. And these are the first ones that a lot of people, this one is Tinker.it.
Okay, this is actually the oldest, sorry. The NG, this is the first.
These are all the
second. This is the same as this one. Yeah. This is a later one. This is a later one. Okay, so this is kind of a offshoot. So this is the first. It's the Arduino with the Berlioz URL. And you can see, actually, there's no silkscreen on the back. And there's no date code either, which is kind of exciting. This date code is 2004. So this was probably made like 2005 or so. This is 2004, 49th week. So this is probably like mid-2005. And then, this is the FTDI chip here. So if you look here, you can see this very familiar device to the breakout that we showed earlier. It's the reprogramming pads, and then you had USB standard and a regulator. What was nice about this was this was the first time you had a device that had USB built in, power built in, and reprogramming capability and a reset button. Sorry about that. And
by the way, I should mention, because someone said, is there a jet engine in the background? No, we're actually at the Adafruit factory where we make Adafruit electronics, and we'll actually talk about that. We made Arduinos here during a brief period of time. We also made other things, and we're going to show some Arduino factory footage when we visited Arduino back in 2012. Their factories are different now, but I have, of course, photos and footage from that.
Oh yeah, it still boots. So it doesn't have a pin 13 LED. That came later. So so this is the very first Arduino. Then NG, and the big change with the NG is they moved from the FT232 to the RL. And what that means is you don't need this crystal, so it's cheaper because it was all in one. And this was made, oh goodness, again, I don't see any simple date code. The chip has a date code of 2007. So probably 2007, 2008 is when these were made.
Okay.
And this is the 168. This was the Atmega 8. So this was very basic. You couldn't really do a lot with this, maybe the most basic stuff. And then this was the this upgraded to the 168 and this crystal. So that's the big change there. I don't see much else different. And then the Arduino Lenovo was the next big update. This one added a pin 13 LED, added the reset and 3.3 power supply pads here, because before there's only 5-volt ground and 9-volt, and now it also has reset and 3 volts. And I think this is still a 168. Let me see. This is a 328 nit, but I don't remember if I upgraded that myself. I might have upgraded that myself. But yes, this is, and then this is designed by Tinkerkit. Yeah, it has a 328, and it starts having a nice silk screen on the bottom. And then this is a red version of the. This is the the Duemila Nove that comes after this one. Sorry, so this one, it comes after the NG, and this was the 168, and the power pins was updated. And then the Duemila Nove also changed it so you automatically switches between the power supply. So that's like the big, and now we're up to the Uno, which kind of takes all this and converts this also to a different chip, and has 2 more pins over here and an IRF pin here. So, kind of like every time they make more, it's backward compatible. Like, you could still use this with many shields.
Yeah.
Like, it'll still work, just fine as a small chip, but you could pull this out and replace it with a modern chip. So that's kind of neat. I remember when when the 328 came out, we actually sold upgrade chips for people that could pop these out. This is kind of like a Ethernet all-in-one.
Yeah, and show the back on that one.
Yeah,
Italy there.
Kind of nice.
Yeah. So
okay,
that's part of our journey. So that was so I wanted to show where we were at in 2008, 2009, a little bit of Adafruit site, and then in 2010. And this was what's funny. Everything kind of happens in March. This always seems to happen in our lives.
March is scary.
We always have something will happen, or there'll be a meeting, or there'll be something. One time we got served a subpoena, and we had to tell the government, no, we won't give over all the customer data. That happened in March.
Yeah.
That was a fun story. And lots of things happen in March. But this, March of 2000, March in 2010, the Arduino team visited, and this is when it was Gianluca, Massimo, Tom Igo, David, and David. And there you are, holding an Arduino up. And
this is back at our old place.
This is when Adafruit was one tiny apartment, and this was 2010. And there they are. And when they were all there, I said, "Hey, do you mind signing this thing? Because much like the Beatles, who knows what's going to happen? Could you sign all this?"
And you did. I
got it. And this is so I have like a mini Arduino museum. So here it is.
You get the Tom Igo.
Yep.
Melis, Hansi, Gianluca.
Yeah.
And I guess this is Davide.
Probably. So this is them. They visited. If you go to the Adafruit Flickr, we have all the photos from back then. I always knew I was documenting something important. I always knew I was writing about it when I was at Make. Before that, when I started Hackaday, I talked about some of these things. But I always knew that you in particular and what you were doing and what Arduino was doing was special. It was important.
Yes.
So I was able to get all this like history, and I have a box of it.
Yay!
And some photos.
Okay.
So here we are. I'm gonna then. So we were doing stuff with the Adafruit site, and a little bit after that, we did some more updates. And this was.
I think it says like Arduino. We have them.
It was a big deal. And in 2010, October of 2010, we did a site update. At the time, we would only broadcast with Ustream. That was the only thing that was live broadcast at the time. So I did a little video.
We had a tablet.
And I put it up there.
Okay.
So this is a video about Ustream and all the things that we did with our website 9 years ago. So we've been doing this for a really, really long time.
And it shows off, I think, the proto shield. So this is
probably does.
It's thematic.
So here we go. So here's a little minute and 17-second video of what we were doing about almost 10 years ago with the Adafruit site. And you can see a snapshot of what we were doing with Arduino. Okay, there's a new feature on the Adafruit site using the Ustream API. If you go to the forums, or if you go to adafruit.com, either one of those, you'll notice there's this little box that is blinking away. This is telling you that we have a chat going on. This could be the Ask an Engineer chat, or it could be the live pick and place show. You can close the box, or you can click it. Once you click it, you'll end up on our chat page. On our chat page, sometimes we're broadcasting, like right now, we're doing some tests with our pick and place machine, which places little tiny parts. And then sometimes we're doing our show. But what we wanted to do is have one place on our site. If folks are visiting the site and they're not aware that we're broadcasting, they'll be able to see that. So let's take a look at this. This is the pick and place machine doing its thing, placing parts. This is for a new product that we're working on that should be out soon. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You can hop over to the blog or go back to the homepage, and you'll see that it's still saying we're broadcasting live, and that's it. So check it out, Ustream API. Okay, so then in 2011, this was February of 2011, you can see it's on the Make site.
And if Uno.
If you search for why Arduino Won and why it's here to say, and like my last name term, or Make Zine, you'll see this article, which is referred to a lot as like this was when Arduino was recognized for being the thing that all makers, industries, development companies, prototyping, startups, they were going to move towards this thing called Arduino.
Yeah.
And you helped out with this article. It was a lot of, it took me a long time to write it. It was a lot of analysis. What's happening? What's different? And I invite you to read it because there'll be a lot of head nodding, which is like, oh yeah, like of course we have things that are like Arduinos and their shields. And of course there's a community like Discord now. Of course there's a place where people can share source code. But there was nothing like this.
At the time though, there was nothing like it. The idea that you would make a board that was designed to be low cost. I mean, one of the things that I think I helped you write that article a little bit, or maybe I reviewed it. But the thing that struck me is that at the time, all dev boards were like the STK 500, which were, fairly expensive. And they were huge, and they included like everything. Like you got a 7-segment display and an LCD and like 15 buttons and it was just everything. And you couldn't plug stuff easily into it. Like it had headers, but it was like really hard to connect stuff. And it was meant to show off everything that the chip could do. So it had like everything on it, which also made it huge and expensive. You couldn't use it in a project and leave it. It was meant to evaluate the chips so that you would then design your own board. It was designed for engineers. The idea of having a board that you could use and then keep in your project because it was so low cost. Nowadays, people would say like $35. It's not so low cost, but at the time it was that was quite inexpensive. Inexpensive enough that you could get multiple ones instead of having like your one holy dev board that you had to carefully not damage because once if you damage it, you had to replace the whole thing.
Yeah, before it was spend a bunch of money, few $100s, get this big giant dev board from the manufacturers who make the chip.
Yeah.
And then never be able to share the source code. There's no community, there was no internet. And all these things happened at the same time. We had Instructables, we had things like wikis, we had an Adafruit, there was processing, there was people doing art that also wanted to do electronics. ITP was doing stuff. And all these things converged. It was like a really neat bit of timing. And so I just said, let's capture what's going on right now, and I kind of made this prediction, and it's an unfair prediction because I work with Adafruit now, but I said, Arduino Won, it's here to say, but I was very careful. I said, whether it's called Arduino or not isn't going to matter, but whatever most people use, it's going to be Arduino-like, and here's why.
This is also the first dev board that was open source, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
Again, this was
Creative Commons
the
for
idea
hardware that was unheard of.
You wouldn't be able to get get the schematic, but you definitely wouldn't be able to get the board files, and you wouldn't get the schematics in a format that you could use. There were people who were doing similar type boards, but they weren't manufacturing them and making them available.
Yeah.
You couldn't get them.
And I also put this in the article. The electronic community was not welcoming back then. It was not helpful. It was not forgiving. It was not friendly at all. There was sites that I remember chased you away. They're like, who's this dumb girl trying to do electronics? And I was like, this is terrible. And I knew,
really terrible.
And I knew that because Arduino wasn't that, the Arduino community that started wasn't that, that's where people were going to move to. And now when you see things like CircuitPython and Discord and all this stuff, all there is people that they're not ruined. They're not ruined by terrible experiences. There's so many new things, and the beginner's mind is excellent because they don't know what they can't do yet. And they just come up with ideas, and this is why we're seeing so many cool projects.
That reminds me, I remember that the number one, I was on AVR Freaks, and the people who were posting there were a lot. They were actually kind of going bonkers because every other post was people trying to get serial output with the right baud rate. Now, again, nowadays it sounds trivial, well, why don't you just initiate the UART with a baud rate? But you understand, at the time, that kind of function didn't exist. You would have to find out the crystal divider and set it, and you have to do it the right way, and it was really easy for people to get it wrong. because there were so many like ways to like change the crystal in the divider, and there was like the doubler, and then like the undoubler, and like divide by 4 or whatever. So there was no way to just say, hey, I want the serial output to be 9600 baud. There was no way to do that. And so like almost every question was people saying, I want to blink an LED once a second, or I want to like send serial data over UART, and they just couldn't figure it out.
And the old timers that were like just fearful of change, their point of view was, look, you need to cut your teeth.
You have to learn assembler.
You need to learn assembler, and you should make sure you can wire up something without using like any modern tool. Like it's like, oh my gosh. And then meanwhile, beginners are just like, yeah, like I'll always learn stuff, but I want to do projects and I want to be able to do things. And it seems like there's more people doing electronics now because they're able to do projects, not because they read Art of Electronics. Like
I know.
You have to be able to do something that gets people interested in that first 5 minutes if you're going to get more people in. And that's one of the magical things that's happened with physical computing.
Yeah.
So 2011,
Okay.
we had another site update.
Yes.
So I wanted to show what's going on in the world of Adafruit. More Arduino things on our site. This is 2011. I did a little screencast.
Okay.
Let's see what's going on back
See the
then.
history.
So this was showing our proto shield
And then all the documentation. So the documentation was on a wiki, and it used Flickr for photo hosting.
Yeah, and we had blog posts that were coming in live.
And we had
were
files.
publishing open source files, and we were one of the first sites to do these little tabs. And we pulled in the blog live. That was we were one of the first websites to insert the blog.
Yeah,
into
if you look, the
electronic
left hand nav stays the same.
Yeah.
This is the website that I think I wrote all the code for this site.
Yeah. Lady Ada was the designer.
I was doing all the web stuff.
Yeah.
I now can no longer use web technologies. I'm too out of touch. But this was just PHP.
Yeah.
So I could do it.
And then here's a screenshot from a little bit later, and you can see we did an update,
fancier,
updated
nicer
the
logo.
logo.
You got me a nicer logo, thanks.
Yeah, I did some more stuff with the website. Worked with Bruce, our designer. We did a lot of stuff, and you can tell it's starting to look more and more like the current Adafruit website. So then in 2012, we went to a series of factories, and I can explain this. Arduino wasn't just one company in Italy. The way it was explained to us is it's tradition in Italy to have a lot of different companies and have a lot of, like, I guess in the US it'd be like LLCs, lots of small companies, and maybe one would do different parts. So
yeah, you'd have one that does, like, you know, the PCBs, and then one that does the assembly, and one that does the packaging. Like, it was not integrated. Like, each company was very good at the one thing they were doing.
Yeah.
And so we went to
Smart
Milan,
Projects is one.
outside of Milan.
Yeah, and here's just some stuff. These were PCBs.
Yeah, these are panel. I can't quite tell which PC, but you can see these are
Yeah.
gigantic, like a Tinker kit panel, but it's gigantic panels. This was made by a company that they did the quality and the look that Arduino liked.
And each piece is kind of like, each one of these photos is like, this is one of the testers.
Yeah, and so this is, I don't exactly remember what it was, but yeah, it was some tester.
SMS tester or something like that.
Yeah, some tester, maybe for cellular board.
Yeah, and I think this was one of the Atmel things they were using to program boards.
Yes, this definitely looks like a jig. I mean, there was machines that were being run by Arduinos.
And
this is the
this is a tester with a lot of
tester
pogo
with
pins.
pogo pins, and then you put the board in and slot it in, and then the railing would slide down to hold the board in place.
And keep in mind, at this time, Adafruit was just in an apartment. We didn't even have a pick and place. And we were so excited to see what Arduino was doing in Italy.
This is a silk screening machine.
It was like, this is a factory. Wow, like maybe one day we can do something like this.
I think, but this is a tester.
Yeah,
so
these
yeah,
are the testers.
the individual board goes in, and then like you see this gigantic thing that goes in. The technique I like, but overall it's intense. This is a heat sealer. This is used for the bags after they're put in a bag.
This is a Leonardo, hot off the press with no headers.
Yeah, this is the headerless version, and then you can see the silk screen. That silk screen is done in an LPI process. It's a different process than most PCBs, and so that's how you get that really crisp lettering. You have to pay a little more for it.
And then this was the warehouse. This was a lot of Arduinos about to go out.
Yeah, this is all the packaging and printing. And sort of all the parts that they use to make all the kits.
I'll say this, at the time I was like, oh my gosh, this is gigantic. This is huge. This is crazy. And like now we have, multiple floors that are bigger than this. and so does Arduino now. But that's at the time it was like, oh my gosh,
packaging.
Like,
So every
this
little
is
piece
how
is
it's
made in
all
Italy,
done. Yeah.
shipped there, and then these are the boxes that go out. So when we got Arduinos, this is what they look like. These are outward boxes.
And remember, this was 2012. Lots of things have changed with Arduino and the company.
This is the drilling machine for the PCBs, I believe.
Yeah.
This is a parts counter, it looks like.
And then there was little things. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this tape dispenser
the tape
with the Arduino logo on it.
Yeah, it's an auto wedding tape dispenser. These are boards that are assembled and selective soldered and then ready for testing. So they're stored upright maybe they're washed and so they're dry. And these are all the Unos. They just make tons of them.
And you can see this is with the previous USB connector because it was 2012.
It was chunky.
Things were different back then.
No, the Uno still uses the chunky one. People like it. It's only like the new boards that use the micro. Although I'm wondering if they're going to move to USB-C soon because,
And then this is when we started seeing pick-and-place machines for...
This was the first time I'd actually gotten to see a pick-and-place.
Oh, cool. What's the Samsung machine?
Yeah, so it wasn't exactly the machine. It turns out it's not the same machine we have, but it's a similar...
Yeah, Samsung made really fast machines, but that was our first exposure to it.
Yeah, it's a little different.
And we're like, oh, cool, and this is the oven. We have an oven that's
this
very
is the
much
oven,
like
so
this.
we got to see the line. So you can see me, and then you are in front of me.
Yeah, I'm somewhere over there.
And then, this is the oven.
And this is the there's different places in the oven, different zones, and you raise and lower the heat.
Looks just like the software for ours.
It probably is.
Can you go back? Is this the same model that we have? No,
it's a different model.
Yeah, that is a different
But it's very similar.
But they all they probably all use the same software.
It's a giant oven.
Yeah.
And so then you can see here's some other testing after the boards come out.
Yeah, I think this is the first article inspection. This is the chip shooter, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, this is a smaller pick and place. Yeah, so this is just some other boards.
And then I have a video, it's about 30 seconds,
yeah.
of some of the factory.
Okay, great. We can grab the video. Oh, that's great.
It's the MDC. It freaks out sometimes.
The reels.
You know where they use the conveyor in between.
Here, and then it hits the oven, and then it's done.
Here's reels of components. So a lot of this stuff looks familiar if you've been watching the Adafruit Ask an Engineer shows because a lot of manufacturing is similar. I'd say the unusual thing is we make things in the U.S., New York City, USA, and Arduino makes things in Italy.
Another thing that I thought was interesting is their thing is that line was pretty much the Uno line, and it
was a Uno.
It just
made
you
Unos.
can see how specialized the wheels and the only wheels they stocked were basically the ones just to make the Uno because this line was like all it did year round was just make Unos, and there was a fellow there and I was like, well, what do you do here? He's like, my job is to make sure the feeders are all set up so I can continue making Unos. That was his full-time job is just don't stop making Unos.
And then they employed local people there in Italy. There used to be Olivetti factory
nearby
that was there, and so a lot of people had electronic skills, and from what I understand they were doing electronics again.
And then this is either silk screening or stenciling.
Yeah, I believe this was another. It was the auto stenciler.
This was a different. Yeah, that's what This is a different pick and place line. This is not the one we just saw. This is a different factory.
Yeah, and that's how it worked there. There was like different things, and then this is where they made the PCBs, and the lighting was yellow because they use all sorts of photo exposure.
Yes.
So it's not, my camera wasn't messed up or anything. This is what it looked like when you're walking around in there. And so you're looking at how the PCBs are actually made.
And they would make these enormous circuit boards. It's just less expensive because the labor is to align it. And this is plating, so you can see the copper is cleaned and it's ready to be plated.
And here we go. It's going to go take a bath, so I have a little bit of video.
Take a bath.
Here they are.
This is the pre-plated, I think, or pre-cleaned.
See them about to go in. And then this punches holes in the stencil.
Yes. This is, I guess they made their own stencils as well locally. And then this was a PCB drill. So that's a PCB, and they drilled all the holes first, I think, and then they do the copper resist.
Yeah.
Then they etch it, and then they silk screen it.
And then, of course, I'd take a photo of this. I was just like, what is this old
These
thing
machines are old.
doing? And I was like, wow, they still use tape. I got
Look,
tape on some of this
I guess
stuff. I was
it
like,
just-
that's cool. Because there was just
working.
factories that were doing things that used to be part of another industry, and then they started
Well,
doing.
also some of these were doing
Arduino.
car parts, and so it was like
Yeah.
you would be set up to make parts for this, machine for 10 years.
Okay. So that was 2012.
That's a tour.
And this is for a lot of people for
There's
the
no
first
other
time.
photos.
And I wish, this is one of the things that I always tell people that are in business, and I guess it extends everything, is like, please, please, please take photos of what you're doing at the time, because you never know what's going to happen. And I remember, I think I was getting some weird looks because I was so motivated to get photos of the Arduino factory. I'm like, I got to get there. I got to take photos. I got to have the snapshot in time, because I
Yeah.
know one day I'm going to be sharing it with someone, probably on a live video one day.
Yeah.
And there's going to be this story, because I thought whatever happens with electronics, this is going to be one of the things people point to and say, that's how a lot of people got started. That started another branch of engineering that wasn't there before. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Also, the idea that you would do the manufacturing in-house is very unusual.
Yep. 2013, we started doing more and more Arduino. We had these badges. And also in 2013, an Arduino came out. Which one is this?
Micro.
It's the Micro. And on it, there's a little Adafruit logo designed with Adafruit. Now, again, a little bit of a story with these types of things. Let's go to the overhead. Maybe you can show that one.
Yeah.
A little bit of a story with these things. So you're probably wondering, gee, how did this come about? Well, back in the day, before we would release a board, we would say to Arduino, hey, we have this new board that we made. Do you want to call it an Arduino something, and we can partner up? And I have an example coming up soon, like the Arduino Gemma. We did
Yeah.
a Gemma version because we thought, hey, it would be great to have Lady Ada's hardware engineering smarts, and then have something that works well with the IDE, and there could be an Arduino version, Adafruit version. The only difference would be we had a way to have distribution through Arduino. Arduino have distribution through us for their boards. I think we're the top seller of Arduino for a while.
Yep.
And so this was one of those boards where you were doing some work, they were doing some work.
Very
and so,
similar, yeah.
And so they said, okay, this is co-design with Arduino.
Double-sided.
Double-sided.
This is an Atmega 32U4, and
Yeah.
then what's interesting is that this design it came before or after, but very close to when I did the USB. We did a 32U4 breakout.
Yeah.
I think it might used to be the
You did the 32U4 breakup before this, and we said...
for GCC,
And we said
I
to
used
them,
Loofah.
yeah, and we said to them, hey, do you want to do this? And they said, actually, we're coming out with something soon. And this is one of the things. They looked at our design, and then they said, do you want to have this logo thing on? And we're like, yeah, sure.
But then this was the predecessor of the Feather.
If you could look closely
Because
on these photos,
this, not exactly
Lady Ada
this
was
one.
thinking about feathers.
The 32U4 board was called the it's like the 32U4 breakout, and
Yeah.
then I did something like the 32U4 Bluefruit,
Yeah.
which was this plus a Bluetooth module built in, because that was really popular. People were trying to do that a lot, and then that became Feathers. This was kind of a great granddaddy.
So nobody remembers this, I think, but we were manufacturing Arduinos in the U.S. for a bit, but there was an Arduino made in USA before that.
Yeah.
Ah,
Which one was that?
well, first off, Arduino was briefly made in USA,
It was.
and there was two different chapters of that. The first one was
The
the
Gemma.
Arduino Gemma.
The Adafruit Gemma, we had a different VID PID for Arduino,
Yep.
and it came in this beautiful teal color. And we fabricated these, and we made them and sold them to Arduino that was then distributed around
Yeah.
the world. So the people really liked the Gemma. I mean, it was a low-cost, easy way to add, a little wearable platform that was small and sewable. I think they've discontinued it. They don't carry it. And we've also moved on to the Gemma M0 because we always
Yeah.
want bigger and better. But, people really liked the Gemma for many years. This was quite popular.
And, this was during a time when the team was still the original folks. And so later on, there was a split. One of the people went off. There was an Arduino.org and Arduino.cc. There was a lot of stuff going on. And the division between those two entities, both called Arduino, ended up Arduino.cc needed to find a manufacturer, and this was Massimo, Tom Igo, David, and David. They were the folks that we worked with, and we said, okay, you're in a bind, we'll help you out.
Because we had the equipment.
We had the equipment. We were very familiar. We were at that time and still to this day the top contributor to Arduino code, Arduino libraries, and we started making Arduinos with them. And here is a video, 18 seconds. This is the very first Arduino Uno made in USA. Massimo was here to give it his personal attention with Lady Ada, so I thought I'd play that. And this was January, February, March, April, May. This was May 25th, 2015. May 25th, 2015.
Okay.
Lady Ada and Massimo, they are putting together the first Arduinos from Arduino.cc in New York, USA.
The first Arduino Unos manufactured in the US.
Yeah.
Great.
Legally.
Now you just have to make sure they work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, get your testers out.
Next step.
Okay. Of course I had to do this. I took a photo that instant. And I'm like, this is going to be important one day. And I also got both of them to sign the back of an Arduino. If you notice on this one, assembled in USA. There are ones out there, I believe these are more collector item like than other Arduinos, and there it is.
Yes, this is it. And then I also have the panel still of the Arduino Unos that we manufactured here.
Yep.
And then you can see, yes, they have the nice silk screen, and we wanted to get it exactly right, the way they liked it. And then, this was the first one.
Yeah.
We pick and placed it, and then I think we hand soldered.
That is the very first one. And the other thing is we did an Ask an Engineer with Massimo, and we gave out a signed one. So someone else in the world has this. These are very rare.
Very, very rare.
So this is one of my prize possessions in the Arduino Museum. There also is one thing. I didn't show this before. Can you put this in there? Briefly, Arduino made these Tyvek wallets, and so you could tell I actually used this for a really long time.
Yeah,
so
you were using this.
This was my Arduino wallet, and so open up on the inside. Hey, look. Open up the other one.
Build area.
Look. Arduino likes open source.
Yeah.
So that was a little Tyvek wallet that you fold together. I liked it. Anyways.
Yeah, it was a little DIY kit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's what else. Here's our team packing up the Arduinos.
That's the first box.
Shipping them out. First box. Here's the back of the Arduino Uno, proudly made in the USA. Super cool. Now, what has happened since then? That was 2015. Well, still to this day, we stock all sorts of Arduinos. We got the Pro Mini. That's in our store right now. What's in the Arduino Ide? I looked at the Arduino Ide that they just released yesterday, and sure enough, our stuff, this was one of the things that we wanted to do. So Circuit Playground is Arduino compatible, and we wanted to find out if it can be in the Ide. When we were doing all this partnership with them, we worked out a way, and it's there. And
next to the Gemma.
Yeah, next to the Gemma. Isn't that cool? The
Arduino robot. Not a lot of people remember that thing.
Yeah. There's some other blasts from the past ones. But the other thing is, as I was getting this stuff ready, because I'm like, let's do something for Arduino Day, I was thinking about the number of downloads that Arduino says each year. And I'm just like, you know what? They have the IDE downloads, and they have the number of people that visit their site.
Well, it actually came from us doing the CircuitPython newsletter.
Yeah.
And in the newsletter...
because we use PyPy, and we can see the number of things as well.
Ben Nuttall, who does the Raspberry Pi Mythic Beasts PyPI cache, to contact it. We were talking on a GitHub thread. He said, hey, by the way, do you want to know your download stats? And I was like, I didn't know these were available. And he says, yeah, let me send them to you. And he's like, because they're really, your library is very popular. I was like, this is really cool. It also lets me know, what are people using, because that way we can make sure that we prioritize attention on those. And then we were talking about whether we wanted to do that for the Arduino libraries as well. And I said, I don't know how to get that data. Platform.io has it, but not the Arduino IDE.
So this was this is last year's Arduino Day, and they said 26 million users on Arduino CC, 500K registers on the forum, 12 million IDs downloads a year. And then when you go to Arduino's site right now, they have a ticker that says since March of 2015, there's over 30 million downloads. I was like, well, there's information out there somewhere. So then, like you said, the Platform.io folks do have a way to see some of this stuff. And they also, the data that's available on GitHub, there's the Arduino library list. And that's one of the sites I use.
You can get the list, but it doesn't have the download stats.
And it's Arduino libs. Let me make sure I got the right.
Arduino libs.info?
I want to make sure I have the the right URL before I told folks. Yeah, it's Arduino libraries.info. And so when you go there, there's authors. And so what I did is I ran down the authors, and I just did a quick thing with spreadsheets and pulled out the data the best I could. And so the top 10 Arduino library authors as of March 11th, 2019 at 9 p.m., that's when I posted this. Adafruit, 161. Yay. SparkFun, 88. Seed, 58. Arduino libraries, 52. STM, 45. Palolo, 34. Paul Starfson, 25. Fabo Platform, 24. Let's see. Did you get a tie? 23. And Louis Lamas, 21. So there's 2,081 libraries and 864 authors. And I was like, well, since we do this with CircuitPython and PyPy and Python things, and there's some information in the JSON file, and there's Arduino libraries.info, and Platform has this, there's got to be a way. So when I saw Arduino Day coming up and the social media posting, they said, oh, Massimo's going to do an AMA. All you have to do is post a question. So I posted a question in the forums, and Massimo answered it. And today, I woke up early, gotta brush my teeth, then go watch the stream.
Yeah.
I saw the slide, and I took a screenshot.
They added the slide,
Boom.
yes.
They did it. They said, thanks for the question. They added this, and they did the year-to-date downloads. Now, this is only 2019. This is only the first glimpse of this year's download information for libraries. And here we go. Remember I was talking about Circuit Playground before? The number one most popular library is Adafruit Circuit.
28,000. And then the second one's also ours, the DHT Center library. Yeah.
So if folks aren't familiar with it, this is why we made Circuit Playground. We wanted it to run Arduino. We wanted it to run Circuit Python. We wanted it to run Code Discoveries. We wanted it to run Make Code. And that is one of the kind of reminders from that really old ancient article now is this is why Circuit Playground was successful, is because it combined all the things that I thought worked out with Arduino.
Yeah.
And when I saw you make this, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a hit because it does all the things that solves a problem. It does it in a low-cost way, high quality, with a great brand, with great tutorials, with great code. You can get it shipped fast. You can use it however you want. And the barrier is low. You made it easier for everyone. So it's like, that makes sense to me. When I saw this, I'm like, well, I was a little surprised. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool, Circuit Playground, yay. But that was one of the things. And then the folks in the Arduino chat, they're just like, hey, congratulations for being most downloaded. Now, the other part of this is I went through the rest of them. So I took a screenshot of the slide that Massimo had. And there's sites that all they do is they take JPEGs and they turn it into spreadsheets. Yeah. And there's a camera app that does that now too, but I used another thing because I don't want to type that. So number 1, and number 2, and number 6 and number 7 are all Adafruit.
Yeah,
so we have 4 out of 10 of the top 10 downloads, and this is in the hundreds of thousands of downloads.
Yeah.
And then the other ones that we have is the SSD 1306, the Unified Sensor, the ESP8266, MQTT, Adafruit IO, go Adam and Justin and Brent and team, good work. And then the BME 280. So that all makes sense to me. And the thing that I think that's interesting is as Arduino and as Adafruit and as other companies go to more Internet of Things, we were there, and that was something that was really important to us. And the fact that Adafruit IO is already in this, we just put out a video that folks should watch out watch out for it and watch watch out for it.
Watch out.
Is I like that IO's in there because that just means that we're on the right path. Because in addition to
the top other than sensor, it's sensors and IoT.
So education,
sensors, then JSON.
And IoT.
And Servo and SD, which are built in. That makes sense. GFX display, NeoPixel display, Liquid Crystal, I2C display, and of course, sensor, Blink, IoT. So and then if you keep going, a lot of it's IoT.
Yeah, and so for us as a business too, it's like, are we doing all the things that people want? And knowing the number of downloads for what libraries we can focus on and maintain, that was really good. So thank you, Arduino. And the other thing is like, did we make a right choice doing I/O? Because it's like a big investment.
Yeah.
And like we have a free version and a pay for version, and the answer is yes. So we have something for industry, we have something for makers, we have something for education, and those are similar things that Arduino is promoting as well. So I feel like we're in the right spot, and all of us are doing open source. We're building things off each other. The fact that we were able to do open source, you were able to write so much code, and you don't know where it's used. You don't have any idea what happens with it, but it's in the IDE every single day. Based on those numbers, thousands and thousands of people download your code through the Arduino IDE, and they're using Arduino with your stuff. And this is like this is how open source can work. So you put it out there, and it grew this, big maker market.
And of course, the people who fork these libraries and add more. I mean, there's derivatives and there's 2,000 libraries, but also like thousands of libraries that aren't in the library manager.
So, with that being said, we're going to give away some stuff.
Yes.
Because I/O is in there, and this is easy for us to give away. We're going to give away 1-year passes to Adafruit I/O. And one of the cool things, because this was a question that came up in the AMA with Arduino. So Arduino doesn't have the ability for other devices besides 2 Arduinos to work with Arduino Cloud, which is fine, I get it. But we made I/O, our thing is like plays nice with every device. So if you have an Arduino, great, you can use I/O. If you want to experiment with some other things, great. The fact that it has so many downloads in the Arduino IDE means that a lot of people with Arduino are using it, but they might not be using those devices that Arduino even has for connecting up. So we're like, well, what can we do today for like
also it's a different form. Like, I mean, you can use both. Like, I think the Arduino Cloud right now is kind of a more simplified, straightforward version. If you know exactly what you want and it does it, like you'll get the job done much faster. And our version is a little bit more free form. Like you kind of get to do almost whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because it's just you get MQTT and then you or REST and also we're adding a lot of really cool little microservices to Adafruit I/O.
Yeah.
And so I think people like this.
So let's give away some. We'll see who. Oh, here's the rules for this one. Let's do rules because we're going to give away and then we're going to get out of here because we want to do 1 hour. And then at the very end we'll do a top secret.
Yeah.
Okay. So the rules are: it doesn't matter if you've won before. Yay. And all you have to do is call this number. Can you put the phone number there?
Yeah.
And
this is free for all. Anyone can win.
Before it's okay. And if you're in the U.S., we'll send you out a card. If you're international, we'll send you a code because it's easier. And here, don't show the back of this.
Of course, that's the secret code.
Yeah, but you can show the card.
The front.
That's what the card looks like.
This is the card that you'll get.
And let me turn on the phone.
Turn on the phone.
Phone. And you have to. Oh, that was
fast.
really fast.
Well, because it's free for all.
Oh, let me go to that right now. Okay, it's ringing.
That's
okay,
the phone. That's what you're ringing. Okay, ready?
Pick it up.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello. Can you turn down your audio, please?
I just did.
Good
Sorry.
work. Congratulations.
They just have to say what Arduino thing they've made or want to make.
Okay. So what's your name? Where you're calling from?
My name's Jason. I'm from Red Lion, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Jason. You've won a free 1-year pass of Adafruit I/O Plus. It's a $99 value. We'll send you this beautiful card free. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com, SUPPORT @adafruit.com. Say, hey, it's Jason from Pennsylvania, and I won the Adafruit I/O free card.
It's product number 3980.
3980.
Excellent. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's free for you. But here's the thing. You only have to do one more thing. You tell us what's an Arduino project you built or you want to build.
Oh, I've built several projects, but I haven't done anything lately, and I was just pulling my boards out tonight.
Okay, well.
I've done lots of things on breadboards with blinking stuff.
Yeah.
Showing my daughter little LCD projects.
That's cool. All right, so you're just like you're messing around, but you're thinking maybe with this you'll do an Adafruit I/O, Arduino project together. I think that's very exciting.
I would like to.
All right, well we're going to send this out to you, and congratulations, and thank you of course for calling up and winning. Don't forget to email support@adafruit.com, and they will hook you up with the freebies.
I will. I appreciate it a lot.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Good night.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay. Guess what? We're not done. We're going to give away one more.
Really?
Yeah, it's Arduino Day.
2.
We're going to give away 2. So if you didn't call, you can call right now. And if you've won before, it's okay because this is a different contest.
So we have one more card. We're going to give it 2. Oh man, that was fast.
Nothing brings
The only
them
rule
out.
is you can't beat Jason.
Yeah, Jason won twice.
You get one. All right, ready?
Yeah, pick it up.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Hello?
Hello, ahoy, ahoy. Are you calling to win a free prize?
I'm trying to.
Okay, well, congratulations. You
You won.
succeeded. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jim, and I'm in Colorado.
Hey, Jim from Colorado. Well, congratulations. You've also won a full year past Adafruit I/O Plus a $99 value, we will love to send it to you. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com and say, hey, it's Jim from Colorado. I won a 3980, and they will send you one of these cards. So good work.
Okay, ask him what he's going to build.
That's awesome.
I'm about to ask him what he's
Yeah, you can ask.
Phil's telling me to ask you. What's a project you built with Arduino or you want to build?
I have built a couple of those SMARS robots. Have you ever heard of those?
SMARS, no.
It's called SMARS, S-M-A-R-S.
Oh, cool.
And it's a Arduino with a motor shield. It's got a couple motors on it. You 3D print the chassis, the tracks.
Oh,
And
neat.
you can program your Arduino to be an autonomous robot.
Nice. All right, well, that sounds super cool. I love all the different kinds of projects people build with Arduino. It's so freeform.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. If you have any photos of these SMARS bots, send them over. Maybe we'll blog them up. And then don't forget to email support@adafruit.com. Thank you for watching and calling in.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
And I hope you enjoy Adafruit.io.
All right, thank you.
All right,
very
good
much.
night.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. You too.
Hey. All right, that was successful.
All right, sweet.
So we gave away
2 winners.
Yeah, because it's Arduino Day 2019, and it's kind of close. It's a 2 in it, so I'm just like, let's do 2. Okay, we have a top secret.
Yeah.
So y'all are probably wondering, hey, Lady Ada, like,
Yeah, what?
I see all sorts of cool Arduino things that you do sometimes. What's like something that looks like an Arduino? What's something kind of new that's like coming out soon that might be Arduino related?
Wait, do I have to go grab it?
Yeah, you have to go get the.
Hold on,
You have to go. You have to go.
Hold on. Entertain them for a moment.
Yeah, so Lady Ada is going to go get this device. But one thing that I'm going to show. This is one of our latest things that if you like a lot of people know about this, so it doesn't really matter. It's not a top secret. This was our Grand Central, and this is a super fast, super beefy, amazing, reimagining of the Mega. And we think a lot of people will use this for 3D printers and more. It's just a monster, and it runs CircuitPython extremely fast. You can put Arduino on this. It is one of the biggest boards we've made, and there are a lot of people who want it. We're trying to make even more of them. We just did the first batch. We're getting really good at making these. These are very complex, and these are very difficult parts to do. And so if you sign up, you'll be able to get one of these. We'll have the next batch in pretty soon. And the project that Lady Ada is going to show, she just got this working today. And
I want to have this.
no, you're not going to show it working, but
Working.
why don't you show? This is the top secret. Not out yet. No one knows about this.
Well, this is the latest version of the Metro M4 Express Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I can see if maybe it'll work.
You can try. So
But-
this has an ESP32, an M4.
An M4 7051 processor, and I'm actually programming this code in Arduino. So the project I've been working on today was.
Well, that works. So
Hold on.
I guess the thing that we should tell people, this is streaming live.
Yeah. So I made a Wi-Fi.
over a Wi-Fi Arduino.
It's a
essentially.
Wi-Fi MP3 streamer. So this is the reason this is.
Back it out so you can show this.
Yes.
The speaker and all
Sorry,
that.
there's a lot going on
Yeah,
here.
this is cool.
So I'll turn it up a little bit. But so what's interesting about this project, which I've never seen anyone do before, is it's streaming MP3 data from, this is WMBR, which is one of my favorite stations, and they have a web stream online where they stream MP3, like it's like a normal MP3 web radio type thing, like a podcast, but like it's
Oh,
just
you know
blue.
what? With YouTube, they're gonna
freak?
They're gonna just knock out our audio. So yeah.
Okay. I thought it was quiet enough, maybe.
You know what?
They're really picky, huh?
They shoot first and ask later.
That's true. Yeah, I was trying to think like if I could find one that wasn't audio, but this is the first one that was
Yeah.
working. But so it's downloading live the MP3 data for the stream, and then it's using native MP3 decoding on the 7051. So there's no extra chip. It's actually taking that raw MP3 data, decoding the MP3, uncompressing it, and then playing the audio through the DAC, like live while it's downloading. So this was my stress test because like I put this together together last night, and I was like, well, how do I test that it can grab data fast enough, process it, like do all the things that you want to do with a high-speed processor. So this Arduino project, and I push it up to GitHub if people are interested. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen somebody do a live MP3 streaming decoder. And then the next project I'm going to work on with this is it's going to get a podcast URL,
Yeah.
parse the XML, find the latest podcast, and play that. So all it will do is play the latest podcast for you because
Yeah.
you listen to some podcasts.
Yeah. So
that's
the
kinda
idea
fun.
would be a fully open source. You know exactly what is going on with it. You can change it however you want. You could have a touchscreen if you wanted, but it would just play the latest podcast.
Yeah.
From our podcast, from Hackaday, from Amp Hour. We wanted to make an electronic podcast player for people like doing electronics.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of, it would be a fun project, and I actually managed to get it working. I fixed a couple bugs in the MP3 decoding, because it was confused about, like, why is the data sometimes there and sometimes not? But you can decode 128 kilobit per second stereo audio.
Okay, that was top secret.
So that's what I'm working on.
That was it. Okay, and if you have any questions, we're at adafruit.it/discord. You can even hang out there afterwards. We do have a Help with Arduino channel. Don't forget, Arduino 19 is the discount code all the way up to probably 10 p.m. tonight. Let it go a little bit longer. Do check that out. And if anyone has questions right now, we will check the chat, but we'll probably get out of here. We were answering questions during, so let's see. Okay, folks like this. Will the ramp shield fit on it? I don't know what the ramp shield is.
On the Grand Central, it should, but we haven't actually ported RAMP's code to it. Somebody hopefully will do that, and they'll be able to take advantage of it, but I don't own a 3D printer, so I'm not the best choice.
All right. Next, do we have motors and drives, and what other electronics needed to make a 3D printer? Well, we don't really. There are things you can use from Adafruit to make 3D printers, but that's a very specific thing.
Yeah, you want like a kit.
Yeah, and
I want to
usually
get a kit that does it.
and here, you know what? Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
3D printer kits are really difficult to get going. Having something that's configured, like look at a Prusa, which is open source.
Yeah.
I think that would be the least amount of disappointment, because the calibration to get these kits are a little hard for
They're
3D
very
printing.
challenging.
Like,
It's a full-time job.
If you want a kit, start with something that maybe doesn't have moving parts and melting things that'll burn down your house.
Yeah.
Start with something a little bit chiller.
Yeah.
And for 3D printing, I'll say this, if you go with a Lulzbot or a Prusa, you can go crazy with the
You can
amount of
hack
tweaks
it.
and hacks.
Yeah. But you're not sitting there adjusting
Yeah.
screws and trying to feed plastic through.
Can the pipe portal stream music? Well,
It's the same exact code, so yeah.
it's the same code. So yeah. Yep.
But the speaker's not that great.
Yeah. Well,
But you can.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, rip wrap kits could work, but they need work. Yeah, you just have to put. It's the more kit-like it is, the more work, the time you have to put into it. For 3D printers, if this is one of the first things you're doing, you might get frustrated because it's a lot of work to get a 3D printing kit to print as good as you probably want it to.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. My project. I don't know what this is, so they don't have. It's not a question. No.
Okay.
Okay. And I think
I'm here to answer the questions.
Yeah, I think we got through most of the stuff.
Okay, I'm going to put the stuff back into the lunchbox.
Put the lunchbox. The Arduino Museum will be closed tonight.
Yeah. We're closing up. Wait, where did I put the lunchbox?
I have it.
Oh,
Don't worry
okay.
about it. Yeah, we'll do that later.
I
Okay.
was like, where'd it go?
Oh, just wanted a discount code again.
Arduino D
Arduino Ide.
19.
Okay. And
Okay, well, we'll be back.
yeah, that's
in
everything.
A few days.
We'll be back here on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for Show and Tell, 8 p.m. for Ask an Engineer. Noah and Pedro will be doing 3D Hangouts on Wednesday. JP is off this week, don't forget.
Yeah.
And then back to regular JP scheduled shows the week after.
Correct.
So that's everything right now.
All right, thanks,
Okay,
everybody.
special thanks to all the Adafruit community members that were in Discord. the Arduino Discord chat. Eli, thank you. Saw Eli was in the chat.
Yay.
No, I should say there is not an actual Arduino museum at all. It is just my collection.
We're just kidding. We're saying like this is.
But I think I have the best collection of old Arduinos and beginning Arduinos.
We have them.
Special thanks to all the Adafruit team members that were helping out and doing some stuff behind the scenes, and special thanks to Arduino, who's been doing their thing for now like 19. It's going to be coming up on 19 years almost.
Yeah.
It's like 2004.
It's at least 15.
It's like 15 years-ish. Yeah, I know these things are hard to.
But also like beforehand, they did some stuff.
So that's it. We're on.
Happy Arduino Day. Make something with Arduino today. I spent my entire day from like midnight till now in Arduino Ide, so I'm living it.
Okay. And in celebration of our top download of Circuit Playground being in there, I shall play us out with our Circuit Playground video.
Okay. It's Arduino.
That's right. So I have this.
I'm going to go.
I
have to make this into the podcast.
We have this cute Adabot video. So
you want me to make like an off-the-hook podcast player? That's all it's going to do.
Yeah, if folks, I'm no Beto, but back in the day, I was the co-host of Off the Hook and one of the people who helped run 2600 and all sorts of things. But I am no Beto.
Yeah.
I'm no Beto.
He's much more hardcore
I wasn't
than me.
in Cult of Dead Cow.
Yeah, I was just Ninja Strike Force. This guy's way cooler than me.
I was in the Off the Hook 2600 world.
You went to Vegan Cupcakes a lot.
I went to Vegan Cupcakes a lot because that's where we went after the show.
That's what they show.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Is that Vegan Cupcake Shop?
No.
It's gone.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gone.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, Lady Ada. What are you up to?
Oh, hey, Adabot. I was just programming my Circuit Playground.
Playground? That sounds like fun. What can you do with it?
You can do a lot with a Circuit Playground, like detect motion, measure temperature,
Brr, that is cold.
sense light, touch, and sound too.
Hello! La 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 la.
It even has a buzzer built in.
Wow, Circuit Playground can do lots of interesting things.
Yep, and the best part is you can combine all of these abilities to make really cool projects.
Like what kind of projects?
Like a tilt sensor, detect a heartbeat, a musical instrument, or even interactive games.
I won!
And those are just a few examples. Get creative and you can make pretty much anything you imagine.
Excellent. So, how do you tell Circuit Playground what to do?
Easy. First, you write your code. Then, you upload that code to your Circuit Playground. You can choose how you want to write and upload the code. Circuit Playground works with Microsoft Make Code, Arduino-compatible IDEs, Code.org CS Discoveries, or Circuit Python.
This is awesome. I'm gonna go get started on my first project. Thanks.
Hey, I was using that.